Okay, welcome back to the APA formatting. So at this point we have our paper formatted. We have our title page with our running head, our title. Everything's in Times Roman 12. It's all double spaced. We have an abstract with keywords, and we have the start of the body. Remember that the first line of the body is the title of the paper. You have introduction paragraphs. Use level 1 and level 2 headings. Now we need to put in some references. So first thing we need to do is make a reference page. You can go to a new page by holding down the control key, press enter, and it will jump you to a new page. For the reference page, you should type references and center it on the page. Notice it is not bold, it's not a bibliography, it's not works cited, it's references. Now, in APA, all the references should have hanging indents. A hanging indent is when you have an reverse indent of what is normal. So what does that look like? Well, let's put a couple references in here and we'll show you. So, if you have a journal with a DOI number, well, let's put in a journal here with multiple authors. You're going to put them in here, and you notice that the first line is indented. Well, we want a hanging indent for references. So again, we're going to select this line, right click and go down to paragraph. Right here where the indentation is, we want to pull this down and do a special indent of hanging. When you select that, it actually reverses the indent. You see how now all the hanging lines are indented. So that's how you do a hanging indent for a reference. Now, as we're adding things to our reference page here, you have to remember that some of the examples that we use are for they're not journal articles. It's for corporations like the Mayo Clinic or American Diabetes Association, or someone who's a corporate author. So when we do that, we need to use example 31 on page 205. This one came in as bold, so let's get rid of that bold. You notice when you just cut and paste, it does not format them correctly. You really have to make sure to go back and look at your references, make sure they are properly formatted. Many people will use Zotero or something like that to put them in. Again, the software is junk in, junk out. If you don't have the Zotero properly formatted, it will not do your references correctly. So it's still your responsibility to go back and check them. So in this example, we have the Mayo Clinic Foundation for Medical Education and Research, diseases and conditions, and are retrieved from information. APA does not use retrieved from dates. Please don't put a bunch of dates in there. So again, we're going to highlight, right click, paragraph, and choose hanging indent. Now the indent is correct. So you might say, well, where'd you get all this information from? Well, let's copy this URL and take a look at where the information came from. So if you open the Mayo Clinic webpage for diabetes, this is what you're going to see. A lot of people will say, well, this is a Mayo Clinic site, but it was made by Mayo Clinic staff, and they use Mayo Clinic staff as the author. That's an incorrect way to do APA. You need to see that this is a corporate authorship. Mayo Clinic has made this page. Mayo Clinic is saying that it's correct, and they've used their internal staff to write the page. So when you cite this, let's minimize this a little bit. Oops. When you cite it, you notice that we talked about the Mayo Clinic Foundation for Medical Research. Well, where did that come from? If you're on the page and you scroll down to the bottom, it's going to tell you that this was actually made by the Mayo Foundation for Medical Education and Research. They're the foundation that made this page, that authored this page. Okay, well that makes sense. So where did we get the date? And what's this Mayo Clinic publication number? Well, if you look on each Mayo Clinic page, you're going to have information, and at the bottom you're going to have a date of when that information was created. So the publication date is 2014. Also at the bottom of each one of the Mayo Clinic pages is a CON number, and each number is going to be unique to the disease that you are. So this number here is for diabetes. So we know if we called Mayo Clinic on the phone and asked for the CON 200333091, we will get this information. So when we take this over and put it in our references, it's the Mayo Clinic Foundation for Medical Education and Research as the author, 2014. The name of the page, this is the web article that we used, and that should be in italics. And then the Mayo publication number and the retrieved from URL. Now, when we have something on the reference page, it has to be linked in the document as an in-text citation. So we're going to take the author and copy that, and we're going to come up here and we're going to find where in the paper we're talking about it. So, for example, if this first sentence was from the Mayo Clinic, we would do a parentheses, author, comma, the date of the publication, and notice the period goes on the outside. So the citation is a part of the sentence. For our second reference here, author, 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 year, let's put some names in there and make this more realistic. So let's do Smith, comma A, Jones, comma B, and, you notice we use the and symbol, not the word and, Farlane, comma C. The year is going to be 2017, period. This is going to be, the title of the article will be, what are we going to call this? This will be Diabetes Today. The title of the periodical, and in this example, it's not italics. The title of the periodical and the volume should be italicized. This is going to be the Journal of Diabetes and Cancer. Now notice the title of the article, only the first word is capitalized. The journal name, since it's a proper noun, each of the major words is capitalized. Going to do volume, you're going to do issue, a comma, space, the page numbers, a period, and then your DOI, and the computer likes to automatically capitalize that, and it should not be capitalized. There we go. So, what do we say about the journal names and the volume? It should be italicized. Perfect. Now we have a nice journal article here. So how do we cite this in the text? Well, we're going to take the authors and the date. So come up here to the text to wherever it's supposed to be. Put it inside the period. Remember, when you use authors, you only use the last name. So get all those first names out of there. I did that intentionally because a lot of people just copy and paste that whole author and they leave all the initials in there. You don't want that. You only want the last names. You need the and symbol before the last one, comma, the date, and remember to end with a period. Now you have an APA formatted paper with in-text citations, and the in-text citations are connected to your reference page. Now, what's the one thing that we didn't do on the reference page here that we need to think about? What doesn't look right? That's right, it needs to be in alphabetical order. So on your reference page, make sure that all of your references are in alphabetical order to help your reader identify which reference it is easier. So that's the end of this video about how to make a reference page and do hanging indent and then put in-text citations into your paper.